SEL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back again for part 2 for a live discussion. I had a discussion last night with your boy Jarrell's Alexander. Definitely go and check that out on our YouTube channel. Unfortunately, our part 2 reaction to the episode did get blocked, and I have not been able to successfully upload it, but I will be releasing the full entire reaction to you guys very soon. But I do have with me Anthony and Keaton. What's going on, you guys?
What's going on?
Fala Comules.
What in the world? And we're gonna be breaking down episode 5, basically the second to the last episode, the bells. And I'm gonna give you guys both opportunities to kind of like let me know personally what you thought about the episode, because I haven't really had a detailed conversation with either one of you guys. So Keaton, what did you really think about the episode? Brief summary for you.
I liked the episode. It kind of put the final pieces in play as far as stuff they've been foreshadowing throughout the show. I felt like this whole season has been extremely rushed. And so it kind of like they're basically doing 90-minute movies for what would probably end up being a full season. And so it's got like, I don't know, it's just a lot of stuff really mashed in there, and it feels kind of forced, and they still doing the fast travel and but I liked the episode. I thought it honestly, as far as cinematography goes, it was by far the best episode I've ever seen cinematography wise. I mean, some of those shots just look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm not even gonna go into my personal opinion about it. Anthony, what did you think about the episode?
Again, it's beautiful, and I like what you're saying about they're making little movies. And until you just said that, I didn't realize what I think the disconnect is. One of the great things about TV is that it had more time to explore things than movies.
Oh yeah.
And in this, you're just getting a good spectacle event. So pretty much this season of Game of Thrones has just been like the Avengers, like where the Avenger movies are events, not necessarily you're going for the necessarily story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this episode, I mean, I can't think of anything that's been more visually on point than Game of Thrones this season, right?
Yeah.
And while I think, again, I was trying to explain to somebody else before this episode came out that they were like, well, no, the theory is that the little brother kills. Like, you gotta throw the theories out, man, because they've said, when Jon Snow told Daenerys, why are you barren? Because someone said it? No, that doesn't mean you're barren. I think that was them telling us, like, we're taking that layer of mythos and prophecy away from this show, and we're also we're getting rid of the more intellectual characters in favor of the more martial characters, is what I've seen a lot. So this just proved it. We're there for the spectacle, the event, and the action set pieces.
Yeah. Let me see how I can tackle this as best I can. I definitely do agree. I think that a lot of people are very upset because they feel like their characters are not working to the narrative that has been built for the past, I guess, 10 years or 9 years. Daenerys, Tyrion, Jaime, like, people are like, why is this person making this stupid decision? Why is this person just turning heel out of nowhere like it's wrestling? Why is this person like just becoming completely dumb right now? Yeah, Keaton, yeah, I know. But nah, like, but all honesty, I understand why people are very upset, because this is very going a completely left turn. I mean, one of the biggest things that people had a biggest problem with was the long night. That, you know, that wasn't like a 2-episode fight. That wasn't a 3-episode fight. It was a 1-episode fight, and it was kind of like from episode 1 all the way until that point, it was all about the Night King and what he was going to bring. Anthony brought that conversation up. We're not going to go into that because we're going to keep to the center of this episode. But to be quite blunt, a lot of people are like feeling like not only is this being rushed, but they are undercutting any kind of theories, any kind of like thoughts and notions, and they're just going out of nowhere. I would play the devil's advocate on this one and saying that everything that has happened this season has been foreshadowed.
I agree.
Every single thing, from the Night King to what's going on with Dany and Jon to what Dany is going through. I mean, there was one thing that
you said everything this season or everything this episode?
Everything this season.
Okay, I can disagree with some of that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll take Dany for instance. Like somebody put up on the Game of Thrones facts and says, since arriving to Westeros, Daenerys has lost Tyrell and Dorne allies, most of the Dothraki, most of the Unsullied, 2 of her children, 2 dragons, her oldest friend Jorah, her best friend Missandei, her advisors Trust, Varys and Tyrion, Jon Snow's love, and her technical claim to the Iron Throne by birthright. And I mean,
you take an L.
That's a lot, bro.
Did you see what I posted on Facebook today?
What?
Did you catch? I was like, oh, y'all talk about Daenerys turned. I was like, so I'm gonna try to paraphrase. I was like, so imagine your best friend just before she got said, just burn these hoes, right? And then her man staring you in the face saying, what we gonna do? And then not only that, you gotta watch this. The first relationship you in years is ghosting you because his family don't fuck with you, and your nephew keep talking about family business out in the street, and like your crippled baby boy got killed by the woman sitting in your daddy's chair with. Like I went on this whole long list. It's like, what you gonna do? Like you can be upset, right?
Yeah.
That your favorite character is kind of turned heel. But nobody's hands in this show are clean, right?
Nobody.
Even Jon Snow during the Battle of Bastard killed some of his own men in the melee, right?
Yeah.
And again, I understand being upset with this because of pacing, right?
Yeah.
Because if this had happened over 2 seasons or a standard season of Game of Thrones, it would feel different than all of a sudden, all right, let's piece this together.
Yeah.
I think though that when you strip away the mythos, the prophecies, and the original foreshadowing, because they've obviously they even said that Arya wasn't meant to kill the Night King. They didn't decide that until like season 6 or 7, and then they kind of retconned everything, right? So when you do stuff like that, it makes everybody question everything in your world building, and so they kind of did that to themselves.
Well, and I think a part of that too is, I think the writers look at what everybody thinks is going to happen.
Yeah.
And they don't want it to run out. They don't want it to run that exact way. And I think a lot of the issues people are having with this show is, since the beginning, this has been, and I jumped on the train late. I mean, y'all know I jumped on the train late, but even when I jumped on the train, I had all of these theories. It's like that Charlie Day meme where he's got the board with everything. Like, that's how we discuss Game of Thrones. Like, what do we think is going to happen? And so everybody has these theories that they've had for like years and years and years. And then I think people are upset because when they do finally roll the tape, when those theories, when your personal theory doesn't get met.
See, I think that's a cop-out.
You're upset. I think you're upset. Let me finish. But the thing is, like Sam said, it has been a lot of foreshadowing, but it doesn't completely cover everything. And when I say that, I mean like a friend of mine, I was talking to him about it online today, pointed out, it said, honestly, why didn't Dany go straight for the Red Keep? She burned everybody. Why didn't she just go straight for the Red Keep where Cersei was, and then it's done? And it's a fair point. Why didn't she do that? Is it simply because Missandei said Dracarys and she was like, I'm gonna do what Missandei said and just burn them all? Like, she went straight Killmonger this last episode, and it was unexpected. It was, but at the same time, I mean, when you think about how they talked about the Mad King, they said, "Oh yeah, he was this great guy," and then all of a sudden, he went crazy. Like you read about the Mad King, they say he didn't start crazy. He just over time, all of a sudden, he snapped and he went crazy. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where it's like she's lost enough people now. And she realized that when she's talking with Jon, and she's like, "Here it is, then."
Yeah.
You may hate me, but you're gonna respect. And so she went from Nisa, the breaker of chains, to mess with me, and I'll fry you.
Yeah, and it's the one thing I was gonna say about that is that it is very progressional though, because she's done certain things in different moments that you could see it was gonna go that route. But you're hoping that she's going to go on the straight and narrow. You're hoping that she's going to stick to her guns, you know what I'm saying? But the biggest thing about the Mad King is it wasn't just that he went crazy. He was paranoid. He was fearful and paranoid. And his paranoia drove him to do certain things, you know, meticulously.
But they didn't... Oh, sorry.
But no, the only reason why I bring that up is because that is her reality. Like, when she was sitting there talking with Jon, like, Jon, it's a combination of, Jon said in the episode, which doesn't make sense from a written standpoint. He said, and I quote, "You are my queen." And she was like, "I have no love." And he was like, "I love you." But then, like, when she tried to go and be affectionate to him, he kind of pulled back. And it was like, wait, you just said you loved her. Like,
well, no, he friend-zoned her.
He straight up, but it was weird because he said to her, "I love you. I'm here for you." But I don't think it's because of just that, you know, that is his aunt. You know what I'm saying? I think it's that he's looking at her like, I don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can fool with you like that.
He doesn't.
No, I think he's just feel guilty that it's his aunt, because he's fighting for what he knows is right versus that he actually does love her, I think, and is attracted to her. But I want to say, like, so one, what you mentioned about people's plots theories not working out. I think people are okay with their theories not working out. So J.J.R. Martin, he said he had a quote. You can find this video online where he's talking about, do you change the books when people come up and you know, and they figure out what you're going to do? And he's like, no. See, the problem is if you go online and figure out that somebody figured out your big mystery or your prophecy or anything like that, you try to change it so that you to surprise them or so they don't figure it out. All the sit-up you've done, now you have to force to make sense. And I just watched that clip today, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I think that's so true. That whole subverting expectations trope or commonly used thing now doesn't. He used an example. He said if you set up in your story from the beginning that the butler did it, but then halfway through your series people figure out, oh, the butler did it, and so they change it to the maid did it. You've now had to retcon and force things where you had a natural flow before. I think that when you change the story, that Game of Thrones was a saga, like Babylon 5 is a saga. When you have a saga and you know your beginning, middle, and end, you can make future predictions. You can have people from the future come back and think, oh man, that's what they meant. You can do that. When you're filling in the blanks as you go along, it doesn't flow the same. And so when you do that halfway through one or the other, there's an issue. I think that also with Daenerys, we forget that the Mad King didn't go mad until after he was kidnapped, and they left it out the show. There's a whole one of the reasons why Barristan the Bold was so famous was there was a point when the Mad King got kidnapped when he went to go tell somebody they had to pay their taxes, and they just kept him. And Barristan went in and saved him. And then the Mad King wiped out that whole family except for one guy. You remember the guy that was like a jester and he was like this fat knight that Sansa saved? It was like, you can't
yeah.
So that was the son of one of the lords of that family the Mad King wiped out after they kidnapped him. And Barristan asked for his favor, can you not kill this boy? The Mad King then started becoming really paranoid about Tywin, about everybody else. everybody has a breaking point, right? Everybody has a breaking point. Danny has lost so much, and everybody kept saying, "Don't fuck with her." I mean, sorry, man, don't mess with her. Don't like we all got that friend. Like we all got that friend that got no chill when it comes to a certain point. They you know what? Hey man, just let it go. Just let
Don't
it go,
mess
man.
with their food. He's not the one to take a fry from.
Right. Just chill. He cool any other time. And Danny, and this is what I mean. They have given up on writing smart characters. I think that's one of the reasons they've killed all smart characters or found out reasons to like Tyrion hasn't done anything smart or clever since they've gotten off of books. They just tell us he's smart, right? None of the Littlefinger, anything like that. Because it's easier to do this martial kind of emotional skew of events. So I think that when you have a whole bunch of characters telling you don't mess with somebody, everybody's telling you, hey, this is the right way. But as you're doing it the right way, you've lost your allies. Like remember Lady or the Queen of Thorns and the Dornish, her baby, her army that she brought over that was loyal to her. Like she's trying to do things the right way. But at what point do you go, look, I can't. I tried. I tried to do it your way. But if I just went and blew them up in the first place, one of my children would be alive. If it came down to my daughter, or and I was thinking about this, and I know I'm going to rant. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Everybody gives Tony Stark a pass for saying, "Hey, I got my daughter, right?" So I know that a lot of people have suffered the last 5 years. I know there's been suicides, and there's people that plane crash. Don't change any of that because I can't lose my daughter. And because I'm the one that's saving everybody, I think that's my ask. Danny's doing the same thing. Danny has lost 2 children. 3 if you count the stillborn. Anybody would go I know I would be pushed to the edge. And I just want to rant. Thanks for letting me say that.
But all right, so I agree with what you're saying, but the issue is honestly what Varys was saying. Who's the best person to sit on the throne? And this whole time, Danny's like, I'm gonna take what's mine with fire and blood, and when she was in the free cities, she was freeing slaves and she was the liberator. But when she hit Westeros, it changed up. Don't nobody know you. You just came up in here. You just rolled up shooting, saying, "Yo, I'm here to help." And we were chilling, we were fine. And so the way she went about doing that was bad. And then on top of that, it was one of those things where it's she stopped listening to her own people. Her people would be like, I don't know if you should burn that family. Nope, I'm going to do it. And then later on, she mad at Tyrion. Make another mistake, Tyrion. It's why would you do this? Even in the last episode, she's like, Sansa killed Varys just as much as I did. I'm like, oh, did Sansa have a dragon? Oh, did Sansa stay in Paris? Did she do that? It's one of those things where
Sansa knew what was going to happen. Sansa
did. Sansa's chilling, drinking wine right now in Winterfell. She knew exactly what was going to happen. But Daenerys kept not only did she lose people, she started pushing people away because she kind of started showing her hand I want the throne. I want the throne. Give me the throne. I want my throne. I mean, it was like a toddler. Give me this toy. I want my toy. I deserve this toy. And it's no, you really don't. Yeah. You really don't. You freed people, but you also, your circle did a lot of the heavy lifting, especially when it came to the diplomacy, because you were always ready to take what was yours with fire and blood. Homegirl said that at least twice per season. She was always ready to do that.
So her message ain't changed. Her message ain't changed.
And Tyrion was like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And then Sir Barristan was like, maybe there's another way. And then Jorah was like, yo, maybe there were always people talking to her. And before it was hey, that one episode when Jorah, was it Jorah, Grey Worm, and Dario? They just snuck into the city instead of it being like a full blown war. They're like, hey, there's a better way of doing this. Like, there's a better way of doing this. We can accomplish this. But she just got to this point when she hit Westeros where she was just like, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to take what's mine. I am a Targaryen. I am the last dragon. And it's like, okay. And on top of that, like, we got to stop pretending that the Dothraki are like decent people. Like, even from, like, I said like season 1, like, yeah, she's with Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo is not a good person.
He's not.
Like, he's a horrible human being in every way. And then, like, Dany decided, hey, I'm gonna trust the witch that his boys raped to save your life. That ain't gonna work out well, Dany. That's not gonna work out. And so, like, this whole time it's like the Dothraki screamers. Every time I see them, I'm like, they're kind of trash. Like, they're not good people.
Well, they're all kind of trash. And all the people are trash.
And Dany knows this too. Like, Dany knows this. She knows the Dothraki aren't good people, but at the same time, in her head, she's like, they my army.
Yeah.
And they doing what I want them to, so in my book, they're cool. And it's like, okay, I guess you're different from everyone because you say you are, but you're not really. I mean, Cersei has the gold army, and you have an army of insane, crazy rapists. Like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, what? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, on paper, I can't find where she should rule.
But Jon Snow's army was raping people in the city too. Raping was just part of sacking cities, right?
Oh, don't get it twisted. I was mad at the North because they all of a sudden acted like the Boltons were back in charge the way they turned yesterday.
No. They did that earlier. Remember when Brienne had to kill 3 Stark soldiers because they had raped and hung some women because they were laid with lions or whatever?
That's right.
So you read Henry V. Harry, like, they were trying to. I remember there was some school trying to censor Henry V because he tells the city, like, look, you can surrender, or my mother F is over here. When we sacked that city and we bashed the gray-haired men and touched the fine hair of your women, like, this is part of sacking cities. The only people not raping and pillaging are the Unsullied. That's the only army not doing it. But I would say this: I really thought that in the Battle of Winterfell, when they sent the Dothraki out first, I thought they did that on purpose because the whole time I'm thinking, like, the Dothraki. Imagine if y'all don't know. Imagine like Klingons, right? You're not gonna pacify a bunch of Klingons and be like, now we rule the country, live in peace, no war.
Yeah.
The Thrakis thrive off war. Like, their whole culture is built off of killing people to be the strongest. And yeah. So at best, they will. They're not like the Ironborn and all them, the Greyjoys. They're not like them. At best, you have until Dany dies, and then you got a horde of Dothraki in Westeros running around, like doing all the stuff you don't want them to do.
Yeah. I'm like, what is her plan? Like, I don't even know. Like, she doesn't have a plan. She's just like, I want the throne, and I want it now. And I think she just reached the breaking point. Now, writing wise, if it had been a drawn out season, what she pulled in King's Landing last night would have made more sense. If it had been a little bit more drawn out and it showed her slowly reach a tipping point. But as far as we know, one Sunday she walked away mad because she left a Starbucks cup on set. That Sunday, she just burnt the whole city down. If it wasn't rushed, I feel like it would have made more sense because you would have showed the slow unraveling, kind of like they did with Walter White in Breaking Bad. He didn't all of a sudden go crazy. They showed his slow unraveling down the deep end, and I feel like that's what they needed to do. And it makes me wonder if, since they've ran out of book material, that's why the writers started wanting these shorter seasons, because they knew they couldn't write to the level that George R.R. Martin could.
Wait, do we all agree on that? Do we all agree that the writing has taken it's kind of watered down compared to.
I think it's all rushed. I think the writing portion is okay, but like I said, it's coming from the standpoint over an hour and a half long movie versus a full season.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's like they made it based off an outline that could have went through a whole season, but they're packing it in and cutting and pasting.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that the writing is nowhere near the level of season 6 and before at all. I do think that they definitely would have been better off with at least 10 episodes as opposed to 6. Because from a progressional standpoint, even when I think about Bran, like, how are you really gonna tie Bran's character arc up?
Yeah.
In one episode. I just don't think you can. How can you really tie up Tyrion's arc without killing him in one episode? The thing I'll say about Daenerys is that even though this season is very rushed, there has always been, and the writers talked about this, there's always been something about her that's not necessarily been privileged, but it's been like maniacal. You said it yourself that she decided to go with the Dothraki. Now the thing is, even when she had the Dothraki on her side, she went off on a dragon. The Dothraki kidnapped her. She had to burn their temple up to get out, to get them back to help her out. I forget what season that was. I think it was like season 4 or 5. But either way,
5. No, it was 6.
Yeah. But either way, you think about who the Unsullied are, who the Dothraki are. She had 3 dragons, and it's like the whole entire time, like, we're hoping, okay, she's gonna get the throne back. She's gonna get the throne back. But at a certain point, we never thought, is this overkill? Does she really need all this to get stuff back? We were just focusing on her getting across the sea and being this. We never conditionally thought of a possibility where she actually is the villain of the story.
Right.
And for that, I can't fault the writers for that, because that's a turn that I never would have even thought about, or even like conditionally thought. Because there's been different moments that I was like, okay, she shouldn't have done this. Okay, she's going way too far here. Okay, she's being way too stupid, not listening to her advice. Like, there's been things that she's done to Jorah, to Tyrion, to Missandei, to all the different people that's been in her help throughout the years, that has led me to believe that she could easily become this that she was. And it's kind of like, at a certain point, when she heard them bells ringing, she was like, she thought about it. She was like, nah, I'm not having that. This is a blowout.
Did you hear a bell? I didn't hear a bell.
She heard them bells and she was mad, bro. She was like,
you saw her put her AirPods in.
The fight's
like,
over.
Nope.
She was like looking like, yo, these are the same ninjas that killed my family. These same ninjas that slaughtered my dad. These same ninjas that kept this away from me. Like, you know what? F it.
And cheered.
Yeah. Homegirl looked like Doughboy from Boys in the Hood. Like, dude, she was too mad. Too mad.
The fact is, she was like, you know what? I'm not just gonna go for Cersei. I'm gonna make the whole entire city unravel under itself with fire and ash. And it was kind of just like,
and
they were about to start playing "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac. Like, it was.
But I like that, because you saw the green wildfire that was cast by her dad underneath the city blowing up as she was going through it or whatever. And I was like, oh, I love that cut, that deep cut there. But I also had the feel of, you know what? You started all this mess. Everybody kept telling you not to mess with me. Everybody kept telling you not to mess with me.
Yeah.
And now you want to say the fight's over? You want to say the fight's over? Oh, you don't get that. I decide when this fight's over, because I'm not doing this again. I got one baby left. I ain't doing this again.
The thing is,
7 kingdoms.
It's her fault she only got one left, because they tried to tell her, look, let them rest.
Yeah.
Let them rest. And also, Euron has the sea. Like, he's a pirate. Like, he's the
Nobody
Jack Sparrow of Westeros. Like, this is the Captain Barbossa of Westeros. He is out there.
Look, the first time those scorpions show up, they shot 3 shots when they didn't even know these dragons was coming in the air perfectly. This episode, they got a bunch more scorpions. Can't
Yo,
hit
weren't they
nothing.
shooting like stormtroopers? Like, but man, but it was crazy because even like the last episode before this one, I'm like, Danny, why are you going by sea? Like, you don't need to. Like, just take the King's Road with everybody else. Euron's in the ocean. That's an unnecessary risk.
Yeah. And because even with that,
even
like,
Jon today took a boat.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like she there was no need for her to do that because the one that died, it was already hurt. His wing was
right. He had holes in his wings.
I would have never sent my child.
Crippled child. Your crippled child.
Anywhere hurt. That wouldn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of just like that's why some people were very upset with the character choices that people are making. Like when it comes to Tyrion, when it comes to the only person that legit is the smartest person right now is Sansa. Like for real. Like
True.
The crazy thing is even more so than Cersei. Like Sansa is the savage.
She's
probably should just take the kingdom. Like for real.
I'm about to say, is Sansa getting this throne? Is Sansa getting this throne? Is that what's happening now?
I don't even know if Sansa wants the whole throne. I think Homegirl just wants to be left alone in the North. And that's what she said. She's like, the North is the North. Keep all your ratchetness and your Maury and your Jerry Springer down there and let the North be the North. Like that's what she was saying to Danny, and like that's why she was like, what do dragons even eat? Why are you in my house? Why are you here?
Oh yeah.
Like that's
we gotta switch up gears real quick because we're getting a little long. Cleganebowl, what did you guys think about it?
I liked it. I was shocked that the knife through the head didn't stop him. Like I thought that was gonna be what took him down. I thought it was dope though because I kept wondering. I'm like, what they gonna do to take care of Qyburn? He cracked that egg quick. Like, I thought that was just funny. Because I feel like they got so used to the mountain just being tall and quiet, that they forgot like who he was. Like, hey, your queen is talking to you, and it's like, do you see? It was like Swaghammer at the end of Space Jam talking trash to the monster. It's like they 8 feet tall now. What you gonna do? Like Qyburn, like he got too comfortable with that.
Right?
He did.
Because I like that though because like it's like y'all thought he was listening to you, but y'all again just like when he was alive, y'all were letting him do what he loves to do. He loves to kill stuff. He loves to talk to people. Yeah. And now his favorite victim just presented himself. Are you gonna tell me to stop? Stop?
I just love that look he gave her when she's like, "Your place is with me," and he just turned around like. It was like Bane. Like he should have put his hand on her. Do you feel in charge?
right. I love her look. Somebody had a meme up where she was like, "Well then, excuse me, pardon me."
Okay, not gonna ask you again. I understand.
Right. So I'm gonna be that book snob again, where I when they knocked off the helmet, and I know they didn't set this up in the books. They actually take So the Martells, the Dornish, they ask for the mountain's head. So Qyburn's like, yeah, you can have the head. Because she's like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, oh, no, you can send the head. And they send the head. And then, they call him, like, Sir Strong or whatever, gets up. And everybody's like, well, if the head's down south, what's on his head, right? And so there's, like, a lot of theories that when she was hunting down other dwarves, that they just took one of the dwarf heads and put it on the mountain. So there's all these theories that underneath that helmet is like this little dwarf head. So they knocked off the helmet. I was just kind of like
a Goomba.
I love Sandor. I know people complained about how Jaime's redemption arc was ruined, but Sandor's redemption arc was pretty much it was satisfactory. You couldn't have any better way for that character to end because he did the person he loved the most. Only two people in the series that he showed to care about was Sansa and Arya. Yeah. And for him to say, Arya, you don't want to be like me, to the point where I thought Arya got burnt for a second in her run. I thought Arya got burnt and died, but
I did too.
But But when he was like, "You don't want to be like me," that was the mountain saying, "Look, kid, I love you. Like, just turn back. Like, just turn back. I'm not coming back from this. This is my life's goal right here."
Yeah.
Like, so I thought that was a very because the mountain also. I mean, the Hound also killed kids, right? The Hound also did terrible, cruel things. But he's a good guy that thought this is how you have to be in this effed up world. So it was great, and also the lines between what was geek and mainstream at this point are totally out the window. We had dragon fire flying in the background, while undead monster behemoths are fighting with. It's like I was like, this is if this was the 80s, this might be on the side of a van. Like
Mr. T driving it.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any more. This is geek, or this is a geek thing, or this is a nerd thing. Y'all are with us now. They brought y'all.
You're right. It did seem like somebody in the 80s, like the stairway into nothing with the dragon breather. Like, you got the touch.
I wanted like a little instrumental music going here, like a little rock band. You can play some Queen if you want. Like, I was here for it.
Oh yeah, you got to play that Highlander theme, Princes of the Universe.
Well, I can't say it. Don't. Edit that out a little bit. So, but I thought it was. I thought it was fan service, but it was the kind of fan service I ate up with a fork and knife.
It was
some wine. Yeah,
it was, and I agree because like I always figured the Hound was gonna have to die because since the very beginning when he killed the butcher's boy, I was like, you gotta go. You just killed a kid. Like you don't get to survive when you kill kids. You just don't. You gotta go. And so I've been waiting for him to go. But he's been getting redeemed the whole time, and so finally I was like, the White Walker's probably gonna take him out. Because you guys remember, I called Brienne of Tarth being the one to fight the mountain, but it ain't happened that way. But yeah, he got his redemption arc, and then he went out like a gangster. He went out like a G fighting his brother. I thought it was a cool fight, and like especially when it was the way that he died, because we know that he's afraid of fire. But he hates his brother so much that he's like, I don't even care. We both going in these flames.
I think that's the happiest we saw him. I think that's the happiest when he started laughing. That was general laughter. Like, I am here. But I will say, I went, oh crap, when the mountain grabbed his face and put his thumbs in his eye socket. Yeah. I was like, oh no, oh no. I think I have PTSD because I have flashbacks. I was like, oh no, Sander, where's Arya? Is Arya going to jump out of the sky like Michael Jordan?
I was like, tell me, I know she ain't about to come back.
I'd have been mad afterwards, but in that moment, I was like, where's Arya? Where's Arya?
But I'm glad they turned her back because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Arya's done enough. Like she can't just keep swooping out like Batman and saving the day. Like,
right, I agree. I'm just saying, in that moment when he grabbed his face, I was like, oh no, not again, not again.
Oh my god! All right, so let's switch gears one last time so we can kind of close this out. I mean, we definitely know.
But can we talk about Varys?
Talk about Varys. We can.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can.
Was Varys a favorite character, y'all's? He was one of my favorite characters.
I liked him.
I was gonna bring that up. I think that Varys is probably one of the smartest people in the show, and he still stayed true to that. And I think that he left a trump card. I think that message is going somewhere, like Rorschach's journal, like for real. I don't know who he got it to, but it's gonna spread like a wildfire. Now the problem that I have with Dany with this, and there's no justification for her being like, okay, yeah, he was talking about the actual fact that Jon is who he is. I'm gonna kill you for that. Not that, okay, well, I'm gonna tell everybody, but no, the fact is he is the rightful king. Because he even talked about that, your boy Tyrion snitched. It was like Jon didn't even tell her. Jon didn't say nothing. Tyrion was like, I'm scared, I'm telling my queen. She's like, oh yeah, I already know. Yeah.
It's my man.
Wait, you think You think you should? You think he shouldn't have died? You think she was wrong for killing him?
I think she was absolutely. Why? Why did he
Oh
have to
no,
die?
I don't think she was
You
wrong
got
for
her.
because
You
she
got
thought because Varys like I like that Varys's head is like I want what's best for the kingdom, but Varys. I've been mad at Varys since he left Ned Stark in that cage season 1. Like,
I think you got a hit list. You got a
but
hit
yeah,
list.
I haven't there's a lot of stuff I have not let go. There's a lot of stuff I haven't let go because you got to remember, like, I started late, and so season 1 for me was like 2 years ago. Like,
Oh, it's still fresh. It's still
right,
fresh.
it's still fresh. That still hurts. That still hurts, and so like the whole time I'm like, Varys, I like you. I appreciate you saving Tyrion, but you might not need to try Dany. And Dany, sure enough, told her, she's like, I appreciate you. You're very smart. Cross me, and I will burn you alive.
That's a warning.
He had one job. He had one rule to follow. Just one.
Okay, all right.
She said, "Come to me first."
Eat everything you want in this forest. Don't eat the fruit on that tree. One rule. Just one.
So I think Sam is right, though. I think he has a trump card. I think he's already. I also think he was trying to poison her. I don't know if y'all got that, and I don't know if I'm making this up in my mind. I thought, because remember the girl came in and she's like, she's not eating, and he was like, oh, okay, we'll try again at dinner. And I was like, try what? And I was like, oh crap, Varys.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I could be making this up. I could be seeing something they didn't put down there. But I was thinking, you got people working in the kitchen. Is she not eating? Is that a reason why she's not eating? Because it could just be grief, or I could be stretching. Like,
and then she talked about how the guards were watching her.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I don't know. But Varys, I like. I don't like how just blunt he was with it. With like, yeah, let's make a coup. Because that's not usually his style, but I get we got 2 episodes left, right?
One.
Like we don't got time for his long cat and mouse game. I will say this though, in real life, a lot of monarchs, if a monarch was sick, it was treason and as a death penalty to talk about their funeral arrangements. It's a treasonous act even to talk about the death of a ruler, let alone, hey, this guy has a better claim than you. Like she in my mind, she had to kill him. And I like Varys. I like Varys a lot. But
yeah.
I think that personally it definitely was treasonous. I really do think it was treasonous. For him to go and even talk to Jon about it, like, yeah.
Blatantly on the steps.
On the steps. It was dumb.
Oh, wow.
It was real dumb. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it's not like what he's saying is like, all right, I'm going to give you a fabrication. I'm just going to throw it out there to get you out of here. The reality is what he's ultimately saying is that this man's lineage is true. You should not be doing this. So I'm saying that from a factual standpoint, what he's saying is not false. It's actually true knowledge. And she's telling him...
How many live... But... how many live retired monarchs do you know? That's all I'm gonna say.
But at the same time, he was not doing it because he was the rightful heir. He was doing it because he thought that Jon would be the better ruler. He saw that Dany had the crazy eyes, and like that was one of my favorite things is what his last words when he was like, "I hope I'm wrong."
Yeah.
I hope I am wrong and you're not crazy. Now he's looking down like, what I tell y'all.
So personally, I had not to get real life serious, but I had like a kid that has suicidal tendencies and depression, right? And their parents were saying, no, they're too intelligent to have this, and they wouldn't do that. And I was like, it has nothing to do with intelligence. Like I'm seeing this, and I was like, look, guys, I am not trying to I make nothing by making this a true diagnosis. I hope that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, because I had just said that, and I was like, yeah, like he sees the symptoms of what's going on here. He sees so much of this. He sees the path. He saw Ares was a great king until this happened. Mm-hmm. And if you have, so Jon Snow is like Naruto, right? Like he was a bastard of Lit Hidden Leaf, and he could have went Goro route. He could have went evil and bitter and all that stuff. But because he knows what it's like to be the downtrodden, because he knows what it's like to be stepped on, because he knows what it's like to have no name, no title, no connection. Yeah, he'll probably be a better ruler for the common people than somebody who thinks they have a right to rule.
Yeah.
And I love that about. I think that again, if there was a longer season, I would have loved to see his machinations. But I think Sam is right on the money about he's still, even beyond the grave, he already has a plan in motion.
Yeah.
Because I think that was just one note he sent. I think he probably already sent like 30 of them out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it was like he hit reply all for his last final act. Like
Yeah, because he was working on a whole nother one. I was like, why is he burning? Didn't he already send this out? Like, why is he burning one and putting his rings up? But anyway,
that was the master copy.
so to leave the final segue, Jon Snow, the love of his life, effectively burned Westeros, burned all of King's Landing, burned the women, the children, everybody. Almost near burned his sister alive. Technically, she wants Sansa dead. Technically, she's probably gonna kill Tyrion. And at this point now, you got this Rocky soldiers, unsullied, just manning and doing whatever they really want to do. What does Jon Snow do? I said before, I think maybe 2 weeks back, is the fact that Jon Snow, he always gets into a fight, but he only gets into a fight to stop bullies. He only gets into a fight to save life, self-preservation for other people. Not even for himself, but to fight for what's right. And it's like now, what Dany has done, and this is crazy because like this is the woman he loves, this is his queen, and maybe it's foreshadowing because the only other woman he did love was a wildling that tried to kill him. And he had to try to fight her. It might be foreshadowing. But I'm saying that now he has to fight back. He might actually have to be what he doesn't want to be. Because at this point, Dany can't lead this. I wouldn't feel comfortable Dany being the person to lead this. I'd feel more comfortable with Sansa leading it. I'd be more comfortable with Tyrion leading it. I just know for a fact that he knows she cannot or should not do this. And I'm curious to you guys' personal perspective, what is Jon going to do? What should he do?
I personally, I think that Jon is going to still want to just back off and head back north. I think what's going to end up getting Jon involved is the same thing that got him involved in taking back Winterfell. When he found out Ramsay had Rickon, he was like, okay, I got to get involved. I think Dany is going to go after the North next because Sansa already said, North don't have a king besides Jon. Like, who are you? And she's like, you see what I just did to King's Landing? If you think you ain't going to get that smoke too, you got another thing coming. And so I think Jon's going to have to get involved simply because he knows she's going to go after everyone that he loves. Even if she doesn't directly go after him, she's going to go after everybody he loves, and he can't have that. I mean, he loves his family. He doesn't, even if he does not care if he's a bastard, if he's Targaryen. Sansa and Arya, I think in his world, still are he sees them and views them as his family, and I think he's going to have to protect them. And I think that's what his next move is.
So I agree with that. Well, first, I'm going to say this, is that this is kind of Jon Snow's fault. If he just gave Dany some, she'd be all right, she'd been calm, she'd have had to refrain a little bit, and she'd be okay. Right? Because I'm going to say this like this. We all have people that keep we all have those people that keep us on our better natures, right? We all have those people that, all right, I'm gonna calm down because my partner, my friends, my kids, whatever, are kind of so, and it's been ripped away from her. I think that you're right. I think Jon is that person that doesn't want to get involved until they have to. I think that he's going by degrees. She could have tortured Cersei all she wanted, And I think Jon would have just shut up and be like, all right, you're my queen. I'm going to go back up to the north. I think that she's probably going to turn on Tyrion because he let Jaime go. He let Jaime go. Mm-hmm. I think that.
But would she even know that though? Would she even find that out?
I think that the Dothraki are going to go like, yeah, not Dothraki. The Unsullied going to be like, oh yeah, we don't have the Kingslayer anymore. Because she's gonna at some point she's going to be like, oh, bring the Kingslayer. I want him to know that his sister or something's going to. She's not going to forget Jaime. Nobody ever forgets Jaime. Matter of fact, the guy that dies says, "Hey, I'm the guy that killed Jaime Lannister." Like no one forgets Jaime.
Oh man.
So I think Tyrion's in trouble for that, and I think they foreshadowed that Tyrion messes up one more time. He's on her list, and I think Jon's gonna have a problem with that because Jon and Tyrion had formed a bond back in season 1, episode 1.
On the wall,
right? Oh, back when he called him like you're the bastard. And he's like, well, you're a dwarf. He's like, all dwarves are bastards. All that. But I think that he's gonna be like, I'm gonna go back up north. She's like, oh, you're leaving me to go back up north? Well, tell your sister that I want her to come here, or something like that, or she's gonna go up there, or something like that, because they have, like, Sansa has been throwing shade at Dany for no reason. For reason, but like letting Dany notice you don't like her. Like, you could be a little subtle. No, Sansa's like, no, this conflict's coming. And Jon, I think you're right. Jon's gonna have to make a choice. I don't know if Jon's gonna be the one to deliver that blow. But I also kind of don't want it to be Arya to deliver that blow because that's the reason why she couldn't kill Cersei to me, because you already gave her. I think it was a mistake to give her the Night Queen because I think she should have got the Mountain and Cersei or the Mountain. I think because that's the more personal relationship. I think giving her the Night King kind of stopped her from getting the other moments that would actually have meant something. I'm
sorry, I'll let you finish.
No. Go ahead. I interrupt you all the time.
I think Arya's role, I think she's going to find a way to take out the last dragon, though. And the reason I say that is, I think because they've been showing her shooting that bow and arrow all season long. They've been showing her shooting that bow and arrow all season long, and I think she might have shot one person with it during the big battle at Winterfell. And then on top of that, wasn't there like, and I could be wrong about this, but like, I was talking with my wife earlier, and she mentioned to me like when that episode, the House of the Undying, when they pretty much prophesied everything that was going to happen. Was there a line or something in there about like if Daenerys goes north, she'll never come back?
Were you talking about the one where she was trying to get to the throne room and like she saw the throne? We thought it was like snow, but it was really ash. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because she got there and she never touched it. She actually moved away and she ended up like interacting with Drogo and her dead son.
Yeah.
I think there was something along the lines that she wouldn't come back. But the crazy
thing, I have to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I thought there was something. I could be wrong, but like, if that's the case, then this show hasn't gone wrong as far as foreshadowing and everything. And so I think what happens is she heads north to take them out, and
I don't remember that, but I do think that there's a Grey Worm Jon Snow battle coming. I do think there might be a fight between Jon Snow and Grey Worm coming because that look Grey Worm got like, what you doing, man? Like,
didn't he give him a hard
go trying to do something then, but then Jon Snow killed a Lannister soldier, and Grey Worm was like, all right. I think Grey Worm is all like Grey Worm is like, let's be monsters. I think Grey Worm is about let's be monsters.
He was, man. The way he gave Jon that look like, you a Crip, right? Ain't you a Crip?
if you don't start killing people, we got a problem.
Yeah. But no, give him a gun. You go stab him right now.
Right? And then that one Lannister soldier came up to attack Jon, and Jon killed him. Grey Worm was like, all right.
Cool, just making sure. Because like Grey Worm was like ready to go. Like the way he chucked that spear, the moment Dany took off, like,
look, if Dany didn't kill them all, I think Grey Worm would have some problems. Because Grey Worm gave her that look, like, what you gonna do? Like,
like you saw what they did to my girl.
right. And we don't gotta talk about Euron or whatever, right? Like, he was kind of a Do we need that at all?
No, we
That
don't
was
need to
kind
talk
of
about
like
that wasted character. No.
right. Okay.
We don't. We don't need to talk
Mr.
about
Energy Drink.
Right.
Jeez. But nah, I mean, I thought that the way they handle Grey Worm, he's definitely gonna have this fight. Because the thing is with Dany, that's all he has left. He doesn't have anything or anyone else left. It's really just to serve his queen. It's like, I mean, Cersei had the mountain, but Grey Worm is gonna fight to the end for Dany because he doesn't have anything else. And it's like, if he sees Jon as a threat, he's definitely going to engage in combat with him, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. But the thing about Arya, Melisandre said that she would kill somebody with
Blue eyes, brown eyes,
and
green eyes.
Green eyes. The only other character I've seen that has green eyes is Daenerys. I mean, I hate to say it, but she's the only other person. I mean, I think it'd be more poetic if it was the dragon, to be quite honest with you. Or maybe she might take the dragon down and Daenerys fall with the dragon. I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Well, like,
go ahead.
Yeah, there's no telling how the fights are gonna go if it goes north, because up north, if Grey Worm's out there, Brienne of Tarth, she's gonna be armored up. Especially when she hears that Jaime bit at King's Landing.
Oh man, pissed off Brienne.
Like Brienne's gonna be upset. Podrick gonna be ready to roll. He just got out of bed with like 8 girls. Podrick's still there.
A whole Podrick clan is sprung up in the north.
Right? Gendry hears that Arya's back. He might turn around.
Did anybody think Arya died with that white horse? I was like, for a second, I thought that was like symbolic or whatever.
I think Bran sent the white horse.
They don't know what to do with Bran. They don't know what to do with Bran.
Where a white horse come from in the middle of a downed city?
So I'm gonna answer that question because I went back and looked at the episode again. The Golden Company, the main guy, he was brushing a white horse. That was his horse. The horse just happened to survive. And, you know, when he ran, he didn't run on his horse. Like, the horse was already gone. He ran on foot. And so I think that was his horse, because that was the only white horse the whole entire time that I saw. So
the horse just chilling in this burning city waiting for... That horse's name was Plot Armor. That horse's name was Plot Armor. I was like, oh man, is this symbolic? Is this like Jimmy going over the trenches? Is this symbolic of Arya dying? Because I was waiting for some depth. I was like, is Arya's face burned? Is Arya dead? And I was like, oh crap,
now,
I'm watching
what
Game of Thrones.
I did think, but it did make me think like Arya's about to go assassin mode again. Because I'm not gonna lie, because Game of Thrones has never been like anything like, there hasn't been like a. It hasn't been any Christianity or anything in the show. But at the same time, the first thing I thought when she got up there and it's like, and behold, on the pale horse is death. I was like, oh snap, what's about to go down? Like, that was the first thing that I thought about. I was like, whoo, because Arya, like, when she watched the lady and little girl that saved her, that helped her get up in the city, get blasted by that dragon, like, Arya, like, it took her 7 seasons to let go of one grudge. She's like, all right, fine, I ain't killed Cersei, but that don't mean I can't kill you.
I'm gonna get a queen on my list. I'm gonna be a queen swinger. I'm gonna be a queen slayer.
Yeah,
right, like, for sure.
Didn't she say something to Jon along the lines when he was talking about, like, you know, she's gonna be a good queen, but I love you guys. You guys are my family, and like Arya was like, don't you forget that. And that led me to believe right there. I mean, as much as Sansa talks all the junk in the world, Arya speaks with her fists and with her weapons. And so I feel like she ain't really fooling with Dany anyway. She only was fooling with Dany because of Jon. And that's the only reason why. And so it leads me to believe that she is going to go all assassin mode. I don't know what she's planning, but I know for a fact that she feels a way about what happened to King's Landing. And it's crazy because before this, if you go back to season 1, like, Arya was the person who was like, man, forget everybody in King's Landing. Like, she would have been the one burning everybody alive because of what they did to her dad. And it's like, it goes back full circle to her trying to save lives in King's Landing. That's why I'm like, as much as the writing and the pacing is off, there are so many different payoffs from foreshadowing and progression that I loved about this. And that's the reason why I still stick to my guns and say that Game of Thrones is one of the best shows we'll ever have on television. And it's just sad that I wish that they would have kind of paced it out and stretched it out a little bit longer as opposed to these episodic movies. Or at least they should have released these joints in the movie theaters instead. But
I mean, because they wasted Jamie to me, and they I don't know. I think you guys. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
What I was gonna say about Jamie though is like I thought about this a lot, like because at first I was upset, like man, he left Brienne just to go back to Cersei. But at the same time, what we got to remember is even if they were not, even if we somehow were able to take out the whole factor that they slept together and had 3 kids together, pregnant with a 4th, even if we took that away, she's still his twin sister that he like grew up with every day. Like Tyrion even went back to Cersei and like begged her, like, look, give up. Yeah. Like he even went back and was ready to make amends with her. Yeah. Like, and so I wasn't extremely shocked at the fact that Jamie went back to her. I think things I don't know how things would have gone had he not been injured and the building had crumbled down on top of him. I don't know what would have happened as far as how the conversation would have gone if he had still met up with her when she was still like mad cocky. Mm-hmm. And like Qyburn and the Mountain were there. I don't know how he would have talked to her then. But like this, it was like he basically showed up for them both to say goodbye to each other and then get dusted.
Yeah.
Well, I think. Oh, sorry.
No. All I was gonna say is that I mean, when she started saying like I don't want my child to die. I don't want my child to die. Like the whole weight of the reality of the situation is like you're about to die. You know, with the kingdom that you've wanted falling on top of you, and it's kind of like she looked at him. This is the nicest I think I've ever seen Cersei. She was like you're hurt, like you're bleeding. Like she legit for the first time ever in this entire series, like looked at him like I can't believe this is happening, you know, kind of situation. And I felt for it. I mean, I never thought I would. I said the last episode, I was like, look, Daenerys just burned him alive, and I got what I wanted. But then, it's like
you did.
It's bad, man. This show, man.
I forgot about Sam. You were all about nuclear destruction. Like you were about that last,
I was too. And then when it happened, I was like, oh.
But isn't that real life though? Don't we all cry for war when we feel like we're justified? Then when war happens, we're like, oh man, like, is that what that looks like?
So there were good people in Sokovia too?
Right.
I thought it was all Ultron.
My thing is, Cersei had one of the best deaths in the series, though, and I think that's why it's kind of unsatisfying because she still got to be about herself. She didn't say, "Oh, Jamie, don't let us die." She was like, "Don't let me die, Jamie. Don't let me die." Yeah. Like, and she got to be in the arms of true love. Ned Stark ain't get that. Grey Worm ain't gonna get that. Sansa's not gonna get that. Jon's not gonna get that. You know, like Oberyn didn't get that. Like she got a good death. Like if you think about all the ways people have gone out in this show, Cersei got it easy. And kind of if they were the heroes of the series, we would go, oh, that's poetic. They got to die in each other's arms. Oh, that's so nice. I just think that Jaime's redemptive arc to just end up running back to Cersei, then what was the point of going north? Why go north? Like, why do all that other stuff? I get trying to save her, I guess. It was, like I said, I think it's just pacing. I think you're right.
I think that the only reason why he decided, and he was trying to tell her, the reason why I want to join the North to fight this is to protect my child, is to protect you. The only reason why he went up north, he definitely felt for Brienne. Yeah, definitely he felt convictions. But ultimately, he said it from rip. I do everything that I do for my family. That's the only reason. Like, he was like, I understand Cersei might not care, but I understand if they make it past us, my family and you, Cersei, will not make it. And I think that was the reason why he went north. Now, I think it's gonna be interesting if your girl Brienne might end up pregnant. That'd be some craziness.
Oh shit! I mean, because that means. Oh crap! So that means. So I think what you're saying, because it's back to that conversation with Tywin in the tent. Like it's all about the family. Soon I'll be dead. You'll be dead. It's the family that goes on. And if Brienne is.
Man!
If Brienne is pregnant, that makes their. Well, I guess Tyrion's the heir of if he lives. It's Casterly Rock. The family goes on, right? And then you have. All right, I see that. And Brienne would raise him to be a true knight. He'd be like the best of the Lannisters with the nobility about it, or her about her. Like, I kind of like that now. You kind of swayed me, Sam. You kind of swayed me, Sam. I give you one. I give you one, Sam.
I didn't even think about that.
But I think we need to, I guess, close out. It's been an hour and 5 minutes. Any final thoughts? Any theories about how this is gonna end? I don't even want to think. I don't even want to speculate. I feel like if I speculate, I'm gonna get let down. So I don't want to let.
One of my only things is I wonder if there's going to be a time skip in this last episode, like where they show like 5 or 6 years later what's going on. Like they show the outcome of a battle or something, and then they skip so you see like who had kids and stuff like that and what everybody is up to. Like I wonder if they'll do that, or I wonder if they leave it as a mystery. If they pull a Sopranos and it cuts to black before you know what's gonna happen. Which
people would riot. People would riot.
People would legit riot. If we never saw who actually like ended up on the Iron Throne, people would be pissed.
I'm not watching Chernobyl. I'm not watching none of that other stuff.
Well, everybody cutting HBO off after Game of Thrones anyway.
Well, Watchmen.
Right. Oh, Watchmen. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna watch that.
I'm really interested to see if Jon Snow lives, right? And if he lives, let's say he lives past Daenerys, I'm wondering if Sansa and Arya, if she lives, keep him around, because I feel like I don't know. I'm very curious because you can't go off of books. You can't really go off of foreshadowing at this point. They're doing almost expedient rush jobs on this a little bit, and I don't know. I'm interested. What I really do hope is I hope they stick the landing. I hope it's something that makes us go, okay, it's bittersweet, but it's poetic in the same way. Because this is, if anything else you get right, if you knew how every character was going to end up at the end of this story, all right, we're here now. You don't got to change any more paths. We're here. Give us a satisfying conclusion to this journey. Don't leave anything open for prequels or sequels or anything like that. Just, I would like to see a time skip, but I kind of just imagine an old short Arya grandma like teaching people how to kill. I don't know. I'm open to it, and I'll be back here to talk about it with y'all.
I just hope that I agree. I hope they stick the landing, because if there's one thing I hate, it's rewatching a show that I know ends terribly.
Right?
Like, I hate that. I own all these seasons. Like, I own them. Like, I can't undo that. Like, I'm trying to take all these to trade it.
You got hooked. You started watching 2 years ago. You was like, that's all. I didn't know all.
Yeah, I'm in now. I'm one of y'all. Like,
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that it's going to end the way that people expect. If this season doesn't, explain that, then I don't know what else people need to hear, because everybody's expectations are just like getting thrown out the door. Like they're a dirty rag or something like that. So, for all we know, Sansa is gonna be like leading, and be the queen or whatever, or her and Jon are gonna be leading together. Like, there's no way of knowing where it's gonna go, but I do pray that they do stick the landing and that this ends epically. But
it won't be a happy ending.
Can we all agree that Dany needs to die?
She can't sit on the throne. I won't even necessarily say she has to die, but she can't go anywhere near that throne.
Well, Emilia Clarke isn't happy with how her character's last thing was. Like, so I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means she dies. I don't know if that means that she just goes completely off the deep end. I mean, the happy ending would be like she and Jon, like Jon swallows his morals and goes, all right, we're going to get married and I'm going to curtail you, but you're going to make me more forceful. But as Ramsay Bolton said, if you're expecting a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. Yeah. So if there's any saying that follows Game of Thrones, it's probably that.
I think it'll be bittersweet.
Yeah. So I mean, all I know is that a lot of the actors have made little comments about how their characters end, and I imagine that if you've embodied the character for 10 years and your character doesn't have a happy ending, you might go, oh. Except for Arya. Arya's probably gonna have a happy ending. Arya's gonna ride off on a plot armor horse.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, we are done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you go and follow these guys. You guys can plug your Twitters.
I ain't even gonna plug my Twitter because y'all don't even be following me no way. So I ain't even gonna. Nah, I'm just kidding. Keeden7, KEEDEN, 7. Follow me on Twitter. Same thing on Instagram.
I don't have a Twitter, but I have a YouTube account, Drunk Geek. I don't understand these tweets. I'm still sending stuff by Raven. So
you young punks and your jibber jabbers and your Twitters.
I'm still waiting for my various message in the mail. So
oh my God.
It ain't coming.
I can't with either one of y'all. Well, we will be back next Monday. For no matter what happens, we'll be here. We'll be talking about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell button because some craziness coming. And definitely don't forget about Keaton's reactions coming up pretty soon the next 2 days. Oh, yeah.
Oh, one thing. Keaton.
Yes.
Have you remembered to be poisoning Sam's drink so we can take over the show after the season finale?
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. I don't know what.
Just a joke, Sam. Just a joke.
Sam, you're the king of Skype. And I'm in this right now, like that's all you. I don't want to be the king. I'm
Dracarys.
I got summer break coming up. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Dracarys, Sam. Dracarys.
Look, I don't want to go. I don't want to go Daenerys on y'all. I really don't. I'm not.
I'm in North Carolina. You're in DC. You king of the North. Keep it. Keep it.
He's like,
it's too cold up there anyway.
We thought Sam was so nice.
Cold up there anyway.
One day.
Keep it. I'm in Dorne. I'm happy in Dorne.
I'm out.
Dorne is warm.
Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna go. Keep it locked, JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys. Y'all are foolish. Y'all are foolish.
All right.